I just saw Captain Marvel and it was kinda lame. Oh, you got me. I was gratuitously stealing another YouTuber's content because it's easier than writing my own stuff. And I probably would have gotten away with it too if I had better editing skills and was good at impressions. Well, better get ready for my public apology. I'm not really sure where to start because there's a lot that I need to say. But if you're watching this video, then you've probably already heard about the plagiarism allegations and now you're waiting for my side of the story. So here it is. I take complete ownership over what happened with the Dead Cell review. I mean, Captain Marvel, God damn it, forget it. America sucks. They encourage you to follow your dreams, but when your dream is to make a whole lot of money by plagiarizing the hard work of others or to own slaves, they turn on you real quick. Now I have to write my own content and make no money because everyone is sexist against me, and that's the only possible reason. Well, I did just see Captain Marvel, and I did think it was kind of lame, and I do want to talk about it. But before getting into my thoughts about the movie, I better take some time to exploit the current socio-political climate and pretend to be super upset and surprised that a pretty blonde actress turned out to be an asshole. So I hope you all enjoy my generic misogynistic anti-SJW response video about Captain Marvel and the ultimate destruction of Western civilization. Heil Hitler and sub to PewDiePie and donate to my...
Hi Marvel, Poso here. Y'all remember me.
Nope.
We are sick and tired of you and your parent company Disney cramming your SJW bullcrap down our throats. You did it to Star Wars, you've done it to the Avengers, and now you're pushing it with Captain Marvel. Well, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop giving money to people who hate us.
I think Disney owns the patent on that haircut. So this fascist, who I blame for the New Zealand shooting, started a boycott campaign against Captain Marvel, asking people to watch the movie Alita Battle Angel instead. I'm leaving that in, Alita Battle Angel. But maybe it wasn't such a good idea to choose a movie about a fuckbot. Because she looks like a fuck, but she's a fuckbot. I haven't seen it, but she's a fuckbot. She's every MGTOW's dream.
Brie Larson and her little comments about how this movie isn't for white males. Sorry, just not that into it.
So if we want to understand what upset this fragile, pathetic, angry white dude who we should all mock but also be terrified of because he's inspiring terrorists everywhere, we have to explore what Brie Larson's little comments were and why we should just not be that into it.
So earlier this week, USC Annenberg's Inclusive Initiative released findings that 67% of the top critics reviewing the 100 highest grossing movies in 2017 were white males.
No, not white males! We had a black president for 8 whole years. Why haven't we made it illegal for white people to breed yet? This was very hard for her to say. It was very emotional.
Released findings.
Very emotional.
Less than a quarter were white women and less than 10% were unrepresented men. Only 2.5% of those top critics were women of color.
Wow, that super doesn't represent the country that I live in.
So you're probably thinking right now, like, wow, that super doesn't represent the country that I live in, and that's because that's true.
Well, yeah, I run into black lady critics all the time. Just the other day, I bumped into one on the street, and I said, I'm sorry for bumping into you. And she was like, how dare you bump into me? I'm a film critic, and my contributions to society are vital to the prosperity of the human race. And all I could do was grovel at her feet and beg for mercy. Film critics are too important to be underrepresented.
This is a huge disconnect from the US population breakdown of 30% white men, 30% white women, 20% men of color, and 20% women of color.
All of which who aspire to be film critics. Brie Larson is not only a celebrated actress, but she's also the best at logic and math. I hope she runs for president soon. She's got my vote.
On top of all of this, am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not.
No, she's not saying she hates white dudes. No. She's saying that we need more female film critics. Not less men, but more females. There's a whole lot of female nurses that could be reviewing movies instead, but they're probably just too afraid because male critics will give them bad reviews.
But what I am saying is that if you make a movie that is a love letter to women of color, there is an insanely low chance a woman of color will have the chance to see your movie and review your movie.
Yeah, that's right. They won't even get the chance. They're afraid to go outside even to see movies. There are just too many men out there smiling at them and saying hello. Gosh, seriously, I can't imagine being a woman. God forbid somebody asks them for their phone number. I mean, how are they supposed to react to that? Somebody asks for your phone number, you're like one wrong move away from being brutally raped. Best to just stay at home and cower in fear, right?
Other people besides white dudes like Star Wars and would love the opportunity to do a set visit.
There's a strict no blacks allowed policy on the Star Wars set. I think that's why Disney's so progressive. They're trying to make up for it.
And I'm also saying I don't hate white dudes. I'm just saying we need to be conscious of our bias and do our part to make sure that everyone is in the room.
Well, I'm doing my part. Whenever I'm in the room with a bunch of white dudes, who I totally don't hate, I'm totally saying I don't hate white dudes, but whenever I'm in the room with white dudes, I become physically ill and I run out and find a bunch of black people and women. And I'm all like, hey, come to this room with me. There's a bunch of white dudes in that room and we really want to make sure you're in the room. The reactions are pretty bad, but I'm pretty sure that's Trump's fault.
Good reviews out of festivals give small independent films a fighting chance to be bought and seen. Good reviews help films gross money. Good reviews slingshot films into awards contenders. A good review can change your life. It changed mine.
Wait, could this whole speech be sort of a campaign for positive reviews she doesn't deserve? Nah, I'm sure she just wants to save the world by making white people feel the guilt they deserve to feel for existing in too many numbers. Okay, so I guess she is a bit of an unlikable cunt.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
But she's a 30-something-year-old Hollywood actress, and isn't that kind of what you're supposed to be? They get paid to play more interesting people than themselves for a reason, you know. I mean, that's probably why we pay them so much, too. Shower them in riches to decrease the chance they'll ever acquire something even vaguely resembling a soul. But unfortunately, she's not the only one who had a statement to make about things.
I don't know if the expression is butthurt about seeing someone else get a hero that looks like them, but that's because they've always had heroes that look like them.
Agent Coulson is back, and he has a message for the Captain Marvel haters.
And that message is, you all look like fucking Chris Evans. Rejoice!
There are people who get very bent out of shape about the fact that she's a woman and that Marie's a woman and wants to see women moving into an equal place in humanity to men. Sad. It must be sad to be that kind of dinosaur wandering toward the tar pits.
Sorry, Grandpa, but Miss Larson told me I'm not supposed to give a shit about what old white dudes have to say. I do appreciate your blind defense of her, and one day you might get a hang of this whole internet thing and realize none of what you said is grounded in reality and that you should probably take a nap. For in our dreams, we retreat to the safety of the familiar. Well, in spite of all the fabricated drama, the movie did okay in box offices. It really didn't do that bad. Or did it?
New reports of empty theaters for Captain Marvel's weekend showings are the latest in the movie's ongoing controversy. A number of Twitter users indicated there were empty seats at a number of Captain Marvel showings over the weekend.
Oh my God. Are you guys thinking what I'm aggressively thinking?
Disney bought the tickets.
Disney bought the tickets. It's right there in the article. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Disney is going around buying up entire theaters worth of seats to make Captain Marvel seem like a hit when it's really a flop. Now you might think if they wanted to do this that they'd just buy up a few seats in a huge variety of theaters, but they didn't do that. They just picked a bunch of random theaters and bought all of the seats. There's no reason not to believe this, but if you need sources, we got them. We got sources for days. Fuck you.
The manager claimed he had never seen anything like this in 20 years.
We've got tweets, idiot, and we've got on-record testimony from a man called the manager. Would you question him? Seriously? He works at a movie theater, you dum-dum. But people like John Tox are being laughed at by soy boys on the internet who probably think Disney can do no wrong. They probably also think that women should vote and black people shouldn't be forced to do my yard work. Fuck those people.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that you guys are naive. You probably still believe in Santa Claus, and you think the world is just a cheery place, and you think that multi-billion-dollar corporations, they would never do anything quote-unquote unethical. Well, here's to you. Here's to your tears of soy. I drink them. I drink them with such joy.
Whoa, now, I don't think you'd do that if you knew where my soy boy tears came from. They came from my balls. That's what I'm trying to, that was the joke. So I'm from Orlando, and I have a long history with Disney, and they are anything but ethical in my view. But they've also been around for a fucking century. If they wanted to fudge the box office numbers, they're probably not going to take a route that serves as a red flag for some random theater manager who makes $30K a year. And I don't mean to single out John talks about one subject obsessively for fucking ever, but you see a lot of this desperate confirmation bias floating around the shittier parts of the internet. Maybe people felt a little too empowered by the failure of Ghostbusters 2016. I don't know, but Captain Marvel was always going to be a relative success, and it's just not the same animal. At the end of the day, Captain Marvel as a film in its own right isn't all that divisive, but it's not really good either. There's sprinklings of paint-by-numbers feminism throughout the movie, but they're so comically poorly done, I can't even be mad at it. The biggest actual problem is that it crumbles under the weight of the bridge it's supposed to create between Infinity War and Endgame, and it makes some egregious mistakes in the process. There's a lot of shit in here that the comic book fans are going to loathe. The fans of the actual Captain Marvel comics, all 7 of them, are going to hate this movie. There are also continuity issues in this that make it the absolute worst Marvel movie in my opinion, because it dashes to pieces the entire concept of the Avengers. The whole first movie in this movie is completely fucking destroyed. They can fix it retroactively, but the fact that they have to, it's just lazy writing. I think it's boring, I think it sucks, but there's a whole bunch of people who are going to like it because it's just popcorn fun. And it's probably worth noting that Brie Larson herself is not bad in this movie. I think she's probably a fine actress in general. It just wasn't her fault. She didn't break the movie. It was the writers who didn't bother to do anything genuine with her character and also kind of fucked up the whole universe. But anyway, those are my 2 cents, and bye.